Best-run cosmetics company on earth coping with the quarantine? That's Estee Lauder, a stock that's rebounded substantially from its March lows after getting knocked down during the crash. Now, let me ask you about China. There was a moment, obviously, China's ahead of us in this illness, and there was a part of this quarter where China basically reopened. How did China do once it reopened?
Very well. Very well. I have to say the Chinese consumer has a big sense of positiveness. They need some positive feeling, so they've gone soon back into consumption in a very strong way. Also in China, like in any other part of the world where we see the recovery starts from online. So the way the consumer access the product is first online. In that case, Tmall, Alibaba are doing really, really well.
How historically has your business done in a recession? We used to think about the lipstick, that people buy lipstick even in a recession. Is it true or is it a wives' tale?
No, it's true. There is the concept of the basically lipsticks are an affordable luxury that even in tough moments people want to do.
Why I am buying Estee Lauder EL stock now because of my Alibaba Baba stock. Estee Lauder EL stock has just lost 69% from its 2022 all-time high. It's one of the most hated stocks in 2023. Is Estee Lauder stock reached to the bottom and about to recover like Meta did last year? Or it has the same fate as Alibaba stock, lingering at deep value territory forever.
How you like that? How you like that? Nah. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you.
It's been a terrible stock. It was terrible
25% down year to date.
Terrible quarter last quarter. But the problem is they've now missed the last 3 quarters and guided down. And a lot of it has to do with supply chain issues, but also China just beginning to reopen and travel retail, which is 70 to 80% done in Asia, being down 43%.
How much bad news you feel like absorbing?
Well, no, I actually think eventually they'll get it right. I mean, because ex-travel retail sales rose 10% in the last quarter. So you got to get this China thing fixed. It's about 30% of total revenue, and it's a big growth driver for the overall company. So I still like it. I'm staying patient, frustrated for sure, but I think numbers have come down and sentiment has come down enough, and it's an easy hurdle to get over.
What are your takeaways from where Estee Lauder goes from here?
Yeah, so it's really China and travel retail that drove, the worst results and the lower guidance for the year. If it wasn't for those two things, the rest of the business, in all regions saw growth. So, we expect that to continue into second quarter, which is why they lowered the numbers there. And then they're expecting an inflection in the back half of their fiscal year, which we're still uncertain whether or not that will happen. I think it really depends on macro in China and if we can see some better results there. But so far, we've been seeing things get worse.
And Susan, when people do sort of step back from prestige projects, if they do like an e.l.f. or they decide to, look at the Ordinary that's also within Estee Lauder's holdings there, do those kinds of consumers tend to come back when things get better?
Yeah, they do. So, we've seen a very big increase, though, in masstige, particularly skincare products, sold at Target, which is right where Naturium sits, which is what e.l.f. bought a couple months ago. So, we think that there has been some trade down into that masstige category, not necessarily mass, but, a level above masstige. And that, could start to hurt prestige products a little bit. The question mark is, do they come back, I guess, afterwards? I think, you still get some better quality and better results with some higher end prestige products. So I do think the consumer still wants to buy those prestige products. They just have to pick and choose where they want to spend their money.
Estee Lauder is one of the largest luxury beauty companies in the world. It has a wide moat because they own a number of well-known brands sold in 150 countries. Their largest market is in China. Over 30% of their revenue comes from China. To find out what exactly happened in China, I looked to Alibaba shoppers. Chinese consumers on the hunt for low prices, local brands on 11/11 Singles Day shopping festival, as economy shows signs of turning a corner. In recent years, 48-year-old government employee Shen Ling from eastern Jiangsu province has been no different to most of mainland China's roughly 900 million strong online contingent of consumers who looked forward to hefty discounts on Singles Day, the world's largest shopping festival. Shen typically spent tens of thousands of yuan on promotions during this retail extravaganza, thanks to her iron rice bowl, referring to an occupation with guaranteed security in Chinese. Shen's circumstances, however, have changed after her annual salary was cut by about a quarter since 2021. As local governments across the country grappled with a debt crisis amid rising spending and a slump in land sales and tax revenue. I'm controlling the purchase of expensive or big-ticket items as much as possible this year, she said. For example, I don't want to upgrade my Huawei smartphone. I've also changed my cosmetic products from Estee Lauder to domestic brands. Those conservative choices have reflected the mood of Chinese consumers in this year's Singles Day festival, as they continue to tighten their purse strings in spite of signs that the country's economic recovery has regained momentum and Beijing's forecast of around 5% growth this year. China's economy rose by 1.3% in the third quarter from the previous 3 months and by 4.9% year-on-year, with officials suggesting that 4.4% year-on-year growth this fourth quarter will be enough to achieve the nation's full-year target. Still, the world's second largest economy has yet to secure a solid rebound amid an ailing property sector and weak domestic consumption. More than 3/4 of 3,000 shoppers recently surveyed by Bain & Corporation plan to spend less or maintain their expenditure at 2022 levels during this year's Singles Day. The Chinese macroeconomic headwinds that are making consumers more value conscious have been well publicized. These include a slowdown in the country's previously strong GDP growth, relative weakness in consumer confidence, and concerns over the property market. That situation has led China's e-commerce giants to count on bargain basement prices in their Singles Day campaigns to woo consumers who are reluctant to spend in this uncertain economy. The online shopping platforms like Alibaba are trying to differentiate themselves to fight for consumers, as they see the growth of China's e-commerce population gradually slowing down at the current high penetration rate. If they can't provide consumers with a differentiated experience, the easiest way to attract them is to lower prices. Although e-commerce remains the core revenue stream for Alibaba, new group chief executive Eddie Wu outlined in an internal letter in September that the company is sharpening its focus on artificial intelligence, AI, and enterprise users. Over the past 2 decades, China's digital transformation mainly took place in the consumer internet. Eddie said, as AI continues to unleash new productivity, it is a key for China to seek new breakthroughs in the digital economy. While it remains to be seen what the Chinese e-commerce players' final sales tally will be this year, these platforms are expected to keep mum on those figures, just as they did last year. I have no interest to buy items other than daily necessities, no matter how hard the platforms promote their discounts, said 26-year-old Emily Zhao, an employee at an internet company in Shanghai. A longtime video gamer, Zhao, said she spent nearly 6,000 yuan to buy a handheld game console in last year's Singles Day, but has lost the passion to buy new gadgets this year. She indicated that there is a consumption downgrading trend this year based on the fewer people seen at shopping centers in Shanghai. Also, a large number of internet companies, including the one she works for, starting to lay off people last year. Another online consumer that has put a lid on spending for this year's Singles Day is Shenzhen resident KP Ding, who used to stock up on contact lenses and various skincare products during past festivals. In previous years, I usually spent around 2,000 yuan to buy enough contact lenses for a full year. But this time, I can only stock up for half a year with the same amount of money, Ding said. That means prices have doubled. I have definitely tightened my belt this year. Taobao has said that its users' buying behavior appears to be more rational. It indicated that shoppers are buying only what they need rather than spending blindly on aspirational items. Mothers and younger generation born after 2000 in third and fourth tier cities have favored local brands, buying local beauty products, home appliances, and sports products from big-name domestic labels. Tmall said in late October, white-collar workers and middle-class consumers in first-tier cities are buying more day-to-day goods, such as fruit and cat food, as well as digital products. The rise of domestic brands, which have lower prices and are marketed aggressively to local consumers, has also increasingly threatened the market share of foreign brands. Many foreign brands created a higher-end image in the past, which seemed to be naturally attractive to Chinese consumers. AliEx partners Yuio said, but this approach may become more difficult in the future. Despite the sluggish mood among consumers, recent retail data has shown improvement in the market. In the third quarter, mainland China's retail sales grew by 5.5% in September, compared with a 4.6% increase in August. The silver economy is expected to continue to be a growing force behind Singles Day. AliEx Partners' Singles Day report said, with the rise of China's middle class, more affluent senior shopping are spending on premium products that improve their quality of life. Government employees, Shen from Jiangsu, meanwhile, pointed out that local consumers have to adapt to the current state of the market. After all, the economy has its own cycles, and we have to live along with them, she said. On Wednesday, Shen said she received a message from Estee Lauder that her premium membership will be downgraded at the end of this month because she has not bought any of the brand's products for a period. Unfazed, Shen said she is happy with her choices. This explains the recent stock price drop of Estee Lauder stock. However, this is driven by Chinese lockdown and real estate debt crisis. It's a short-term thing, not a long-term trend change. Estee Lauder generates free cash flow on average of $1.6 billion every year. With a profit margin around 10%, it's the Nike of beauty company. It also pays a growing dividend. That's why I'm buying Estee Lauder EL stock right now.